howdy. I read a lot of books already this month. I've read 8, and I want to talk about them before it gets like overwhelming for me to talk about because I liked a lot of them. So also, someone's getting a new roof, so I'm hoping that's not going to be too big of an issue. Okay, can we work through that together? I'm going to go in reverse chronological order because I want to talk about the ones I just read first. I just got done finishing Rouge. It's the same woman who wrote Bunny. So this is like self-care as a cult. We're losing our minds, but we're also mystical and magical. 4.75 out of 5 stars. Next, my only 5-star read of the month is Mother Thing. What a weird little, freaky little, weird book. It is a horror book about a, like, haunted mother-in-law. There's a little cannibalism that happens. It is so weird. And I like when horror books are just weird and they don't just turn into like little mystery books that get like wrapped up in a pretty little bow. I get really bored with that. So Mother Thing is crazy. Also the cover, I'm obsessed with the cover. That's why I read the book. I saw it and I was like, and it was great. I loved it. And again, for me, 5 stars means I can't stop thinking about it. So like, it may not be the best book ever, but I think about it all the time. So that's why it's 5 stars. Then I read The 3 Lives of Kate K. It's like a 3.5 star, but it's cute. It's sapphic. It's just fiction. It's not like literary fiction, and I unfortunately am a lit fic kind of guy, but it is cute. It's cute. It has multiple points of view, so like from that perspective, sometimes reading it can be a challenge because you're like jumping back into like, whoa, who are you and what are we doing? But I thought it was really good and cute. Again, cute, sapphic, like beachy read. It would be great on a beach to read when you're like not trying to have a ton of thoughts, you know? Then I read Death in Her Hands. This bitch can just write books. I've read, I think this is my 4th book of hers. This is like an old lady in the woods trying to solve a murder, or is she? I love when the main character, I love an unreliable main character, and I also love when characters aren't just like young women. Sometimes I'm like, how many books? We know your 20s, you're hot and you're dumb. We can, like, let's move forward, you know? So this is like an elderly lady, and it was good. I liked it a lot. Okay, then I read All Fours. Weird. I've heard people talk about this book, and people aren't talking about that it's freaking weird. They're just like, oh, it's great. And she also is a middle-aged woman, like, getting her freak on, which we love, but it is weird. Okay, it's weird and there are straight parts and I'm like, eh, and then it's weird and there are gay parts and I'm like, eh, you know? It was a 4.75 for me. I don't know, it may be a 5-star book if I like ponder it a little more, because I do really appreciate there were interesting like conversations and narratives on like menopause and like what that means, or like perimenopause before you get there, and like what that means for women in this kind of shift in perspective that society has of women when they're no longer like young and fruitful, and that was really interesting. So 4.75 for sure, but it may be a 5-star. And then before that, I read a book called Ripe. Ripe is about late-stage capitalism, which we live in, but she's followed by a black hole her whole life, and you can read the book and decide for yourself what that black hole is. Thoughts on living in the hellscape that is corporate America. Anyway, then before that I read Sirens and Muses. This is being gay at art school, okay? It's so good. Interesting conversations on like art and class and money and like what makes someone an artist. Some interesting conversations I think you could get into about nepotism in this book, which is interesting, and like whether that is always a good thing or a bad thing, or like does it rid someone of their talent because they come from like money or prestige. Very interesting little book, and again, can't stress enough, gay, which I appreciate. And then the first book I read this month was God of the Woods. This like weird family dynamic set at a summer camp where a sister goes missing after a brother went missing like years and years before at the same family summer camp. I liked this. It was more like a traditional mystery book, which I thought was good. There are families like this who function in this sort of way, and it's interesting to see portrayed. I don't think anything was groundbreaking, but it was very entertaining, and I tore that shit up. So 4.5 out of 5 stars. Those are the books I've read so far in May. Like I said, that's 8 books. I kind of, last month I was on in a little rut, and then this month all of my books came in at one time and we were hustling. So if you have any more recommendations along the weird girl side of books, that's kind of really what I'm into at the moment. Yeah, or anything queer adjacent, that would be great. Okay, love you so much. Bye.